1 week from today marks the 4th anniversary of the labor strike against the Frontier Hotel. Recent court developments have put pressure on the owners of the Frontier, but is it enough to end the strike? News 13's Angela Rodriguez has been following the labor dispute since its beginning, and she has the inside story.
If you walk around the Frontier Hotel, this is what you'll see. There are more strike signs than picketers, but just because the strike line looks weak doesn't mean the Culinary Union has lost its strength. A ruling by the United States Court of Appeals has given the union more muscle. The major victory came down last week. The court ruled the Frontier broke laws before the strike and ordered the hotel to repay workers, restore pension, and pay all court fees. News 13 sources say the penalties will reach millions and millions of dollars. The only way the Frontier can appeal is by going to the United States Supreme Court. Although the latest ruling was a blow for the Frontier, it does not end the strike. To do that, the union and the Frontier's Alardi family must reach an agreement.
The union is ready to sit down at any time and work this out as long as those workers get the justice they deserve.
The question now is, what is the Frontier Hotel going to do? Will the Alardi family go back to the negotiating table? Will they take this issue to the Supreme Court? That's what everyone is anxiously waiting to find out. Angela Rodriguez, News 13.
An attorney for the Frontier Hotel says they are currently reviewing the court order and are not yet prepared to make a statement. He's already accused.
You got to fight for anything if you're going to have something good. You got to fight for it.
But first, new tonight, another anniversary for the Frontier strike. This is News 13's 11 at 11. Good evening, everyone. I'm Allison McCarthy, in for John Daly tonight.
And I'm Kathy Ray. It's 11 minutes of uninterrupted news, your first forecast, and lead-off sports.
New tonight, the longest strike in Nevada history is 1 hour away from yet another anniversary. News 13's Kim Sherwood is standing by live at the Frontier now. Kim, are the workers as determined now as they were 4 years ago?
Without a doubt, Allison. And while the numbers here in the picket line may be down at the Frontier, the workers we have spoken to tonight remain sure of their cause. September 21st, 1991. The showdown between the Culinary Union and the Frontier owners, the Alardi family, comes to a head. The sidewalk becomes the battleground for a new contract, health insurance, pay, and benefits.
We have as much time as she has money.
That was 1,460 days ago. These days, the shirt vendors and handbill distributors outnumber the strikers on a regular basis. But union workers we spoke with remain committed.
When they're making billions and I'm making a little $5 an hour, you know, I think I'm being fair, and I'm going to stick to it until the end.
Unless they signed the contract, we're going to be out here from now on.
Frontier General Manager Tom Ilardi says the family's position has not changed in 4 years, and they wish the strike was settled. Ilardi also believes the two sides are closer to a settlement now than 4 years ago, but there are many complex issues yet to be worked out.
Won't be long now. Your boss has to pay.
A major blow to the casino came just 2 weeks ago. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled the hotel must restore pension money and repay workers for losses incurred when the Frontier illegally cut off pension contributions.
I say we're going to get it. It's ended. She can't go much further.
Now, one option, of course, left for the Alardis is an appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. No word yet on whether that will happen. Meanwhile, the Culinary Union and all the unions up and down the Strip plan to be here right next to the Frontier on Saturday evening for a major rally. Kathy?
Okay, Kim Sherwood, thank you very much. Also new tonight.
But we begin with another taped beating of a suspect by a Metro officer caught on videotape. It's a story you'll see only on News 13. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kathy Ray. And I'm Allison McCarthy, in for John Daly tonight. This incident also happened in the security office of the Fremont Hotel. News 13 insider Glenn Meek joins us now with more on this almost unbelievable development. Glenn?
Well, after News 13 first broadcast tapes of the June incident that led to 3 officers being indicted, many of you have wondered, has this happened before, only we never heard about it? Well, you are about to see some sickening evidence that it has happened before, and that evidence of apparent brutality never made it to Metro's Internal Affairs Division. The Fremont Hotel Security Office, July 1988. There's no audio on the tape, but you see a suspect being questioned by 2 Metro officers. Watch as one officer starts kicking the man. That's only the beginning. Minutes later, the violence escalates. We showed this tape to Metro Undersheriff Richard Wingate, and we'll let him comment as you watch the video.
The videotape shows actions by a police officer that would severely disturb any police officer who would see it. The fact that the officer has been retired for some time relieves a little bit of it to know that a person with such potential isn't known to be on our organization at this point in time, but those actions are absolutely beyond any standard that our organization would ever have had established. And if he would be a member of our organization today, he would be subject to severe investigations and severe actions as a result of what he did.
Wingate says no one from the Fremont ever provided the tape to Metro supervisors. The source that gave us this tape says at the time, Fremont officials were concerned about doing anything that would paint Metro in a bad light. The reason? Culinary union contracts were coming up for negotiation, and the downtown hotels were relying on the police department to keep the peace in the event of a strike. We've contacted the Fremont to ask why this tape apparently never made it to Metro Internal Affairs. We are still waiting for a response. Again, the officers seen on the tape are now both retired from Metro, but the undersheriff says the incident will be investigated.
Obviously, we don't have the option of pursuing this internally, but we do still have the option of considering with prosecutors to see if, in fact, there is prosecutable merit in this case. That we will pursue.
We tried to contact the retired officer seen on the tape, but we have been told neither lives in Las Vegas now. We know Metro has received a lot of bad publicity lately, and we know this tape won't help public relations any. But we do believe some good has come out of it. The source who gave us this tape held it in secret for 7 years. The fact that they have come forward tends to suggest there is less fear of Metro now than in the past, and greater confidence that the police department can and will weed out the bad apples. Kathy?
Glenn, thank you.
And Sue Manterra.
Good afternoon and welcome to News 3 at noon. The San Remo casino cage has been robbed. We have a crew on the scene and we'll try to bring you a live report later on in our newscast.
Now, today marks a bitter anniversary on the Las Vegas Strip. It's the 4-year anniversary of the Culinary Union strike at the Frontier Hotel.
That's where News 3's Randy Swallow joins us live with more on our top story. Randy?
Sue and Kendall, you're absolutely right. This is a celebration that nobody really wanted to see, but actually there is kind of a festive mood out here today. Actually, a cake has just shown up here for marking the 4th anniversary of the Frontier strike. In the 4 years, there have been a number of rallies, demonstrations. The strike has also been marked by confrontations, even lawsuits. 500 workers have been out here pounding the pavement since September of 1991. They're protesting wages and benefits, things like that. This is what was going on in September 21st, 1992. That was actually the 1st anniversary of the Frontier. Since then, some workers have moved on to other jobs while maintaining a presence out here on the picket lines. Today, the remaining strikers have an extra string in their step. Strikers say tough times don't last, but tough people do.
We'll be out here till hell turns into a skating rink as far as we're concerned.
I woke up today and it's September 21st again, 4 years later, right? So it's like we're not going to give up. You know, we have no reason to give up, you know. And like I told you, we're the Rosa Parks of the union now.
You know, she might have the bucks, but we got the guts or intestinal fortitude, whichever one you want to use. We'll be here.
Now, the people that they're referring to, of course, are the Ilardis. They have steadfastly maintained their silence. They really haven't said many things at all in the 4 years since the strike has gone on. A favorable ruling for these culinary workers came down on September 6th when an appeals court ruled that the Ilardis had broken the law by not contributing to a pension fund. One last thing I can tell you is that on Saturday there will be even a larger demonstration out here. A gentleman by the name of Richard Trumka from the United Mine Workers will be out here. There will be a large rally here near the Frontier and at the fashion show. We'll have a whole lot more on News 3 this afternoon. Reporting live from the Frontier, I'm Randy Swallow.
All right, Randy, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Randy.
Some other pictures.
Continue to look for him.
All right, thanks, Gwen.
Okay, Gwen.
It is the longest running labor dispute in the country, and it's happening right here in the middle of the Las Vegas Strip.
That's right. For 4 years, pickets have been entrenched outside the Frontier Hotel. This evening, our Randy Swallow is reporting live. What's the mood on the picket line tonight, Randy?
Dave and Ricky, actually, there aren't even too many people out here on the picket line right now. There were a little bit more earlier today, but at this point, the smut peddlers actually outnumber the striking Frontier workers. But as you say, this is the longest labor dispute actually now in Las Vegas history, and it's also the longest labor dispute going on in the country right now. Earlier today, they had a birthday cake out here, but it was for a celebration that nobody wanted. The past 4 years have been anything but sweet for the hundreds of striking Frontier workers. Manning the line, signs in hand, the strikers have endured the heat while pounding the pavement. This long-running battle has produced fights like this one, but through the strife, these hardy marchers remain committed to the cause, even after 4 long years.
We're not going to give up. You know, we have no reason to give up, you know. And like I told you, we're the Rosa Parks of the union now.
It doesn't matter if there's one of us or 100 of us. We're here. We are definitely here.
Culinary boss Jim Arnold says a recent court ruling should force the Alardis back to the bargaining table.
How many more court decisions and millions is it going to cost before he sees the light and does the right thing for this community, the state of Nevada, and also these workers that deserve the justice?
But today, while enjoying a break, the picketers hope that a quick resolution to the strike will be icing on the cake.
We can go as far as they want. I mean, we'll be out here till hell turns into a skating rink as far as we're concerned.
Now, if this story seems a little one-sided, there's a very good reason for it. The owners of the Frontier, the Alardis, have steadfastly been silent to the media. They pretty much refuse to say anything as far as what's going on. One last point I can tell you is that Richard Trumka, he is the head of the United Mine Workers. He will be holding a big rally right across the street at the Fashion Show Mall. That's Saturday at 6 o'clock. That's when they the culinary workers plan to celebrate their 4-year anniversary. Reporting live from the Frontier, I'm Randy Swallow.
All right, Randy.
We begin tonight with the 4th anniversary of the bitter strike at the Frontier Hotel. Good evening, everyone. I'm Allison McCarthy in for John Daly.
And I'm Kathy Ray. Here's what we know. Today marks the 4th anniversary of the Culinary Union strike against the hotel. It's the longest strike in Nevada history. A union rally is planned at the hotel Saturday evening to mark the anniversary. And after 4 long years of having strike lines around the Frontier, the hotel's general manager and part owner, Tom Ilardi, speaks out. News 13's Angela Rodriguez spoke with Mr. Ilardi today. Angela.
Kathy, the Frontier is one of the last privately owned hotels in the state of Nevada. The Ilardi family owns the resort, and they have remained silent during this labor battle. The public has only heard the Culinary Union side of this labor dispute, but tonight, for the first time in 4 years, we hear the other side. Why now? That's one of the first questions we asked Tom Ilardi.
Well, there might be a perception out there that with the privacy that my family enjoys, I mean, obviously in 4 years, we really have not been out in front of the media, and we have not been out giving a lot of comments. But maybe there's a perception out there that needs to be straightened out, and that's one of the reasons I'm here today.
There's always been a lot of words from the union to the extent of Tom Ilardi wants to bust the union, and he's out to set that, and we can stay out here forever, but his heart is really into breaking the union.
Well, you know, those are nice political sayings. That's never been the intention of myself or the Frontier. Our intention, honestly, has been to negotiate a contract that's suitable to our style of operation.
Okay. So the words of breaking the union, it's not something you go to bed thinking about?
Not hardly.
As we said, this is the 4-year anniversary of the strike against the Frontier Hotel. You are looking at a live picture of the hotel. It is the longest running strike in labor history. Now, a couple of weeks ago, the 9th Circuit Court of Appeals did rule against the Frontier Hotel. What does Tom Ilardi have to say about that? Well, we will show you his reaction tonight at 6, and we'll also hear a lot more of his interview. Back to you, Allison.
Okay, thank you, Angela. We'll hear from you at 6.
Is our intention, honestly, has been to negotiate a contract that's suitable to our style of operation.
4 years later, the end to the difficulty is nowhere in sight. Today is the 4th anniversary of the Culinary Union strike against the Frontier Hotel. Good evening, everyone. I'm Allison McCarthy.
And I'm Kathy Ray, in for John Daly. The strike is the longest in Nevada history. In fact, it's the longest current labor dispute in the nation. For 4 years, people have been walking the picket lines, as they continue to do at this very hour. Now, fights with tourists, massive marches, and legal battles have all been a part of the last 4 years. And now, for the first time in this strike's history, the Frontier's general manager and part owner is speaking out. News 13's Angela Rodriguez has the inside story.
We spoke with Tom Ilardi for about 1 hour about the Frontier Hotel, his family, and the infamous battle with the Culinary Union. There's always been a lot of words from the union to the extent of Tom Ilardi wants to bust the union, and he's out to set that, and we can stay out here forever, but his heart is really into breaking the union.
Well, you know, those are nice political sayings. That's never been the intention of myself or the Frontier. Is our intention, honestly, has been to negotiate a contract that's suitable to our style of operation.
Earlier this month, the 9th Circuit Court of Appeals ruled against the hotel, saying it broke labor laws prior to the strike.
The decision came out, obviously it showed the Frontier had done certain actions that were unlawful. And it's unfortunate, but all of the actions taken by the Frontier were really at the advice of Attorney Joel Kyler, and he had led us to believe that the actions that we were taking were legal. And as you read the decision of the court, obviously the court didn't decide that. And now I think what we need to do is try to work with the National Labor Relations Board and comply.
Under the Ilardi's control, the Frontier Hotel is one of the last family-owned resorts in the state of Nevada. There's Tom, his youngest brother John, and his mother Margaret. Who calls the shots?
Well, I'd say in most family environments, it's generally the mother. She set a program over a decade ago, which was the first program in the nation, set up to take the valedictorians of the state, offer full scholarships. The only thing that the kids would have to do is maintain a grade average.
After 4 years, you were saying that, yes, while you want to settle the strike, it's going to be tough.
Well, I think there's a lot of difficult issues that still remain to be resolved. And, you know, the issues are not only from the hotel side, but there's difficult issues from the union side. I think there's things that are really going to take some work on to get resolution.
Now, as to the Culinary Union's offer to go back to the negotiating table, we told you last week that the Culinary Union said that they were going to extend an olive branch to Tom Ilardi. We asked him about that, and he tells us that he hopes that the union is very sincere about that olive branch. It sounds like both sides at this time are doing the same thing. They're saying they're both willing to go back to the negotiating table, but they actually sound like they're more importantly ready to end the strike. Of course, we have to wait and see about that, though. Kathy, Allison.
Okay. Thank you very much, Angela. It's been a long haul for everybody. Well, breaking... Inside Las Vegas tonight, the Frontier strike turns 4. In an interview only on News 13, the Frontier's Tom Ilardi speaks out. News 13's Angela Rodriguez has the inside story.
We spoke with Tom Ilardi for about 1 hour about the Frontier Hotel, his family, and the infamous battle with the Culinary Union. There's always been a lot of words from the union to the extent of Tom Ilardi wants to bust the union, and he's out to set that, and we can stay out here forever, but his heart is really into breaking the union.
Well, you know, those are nice political sayings. That's never been the intention of myself or the Frontier. Is our intention, honestly, has been to negotiate a contract that's suitable to our style of operation.
After 4 years, you were saying that, yes, while you want to settle the strike, it's going to be tough.
Well, I think there's a lot of difficult issues that still remain to be resolved. And, you know, the issues are not only from the hotel side, but there's difficult issues from the union side. I think there's things that are really going to take some work on to get resolution.
Angela Rodriguez, News 13.
And more Inside Las
Back to work. Meanwhile, over at the Frontier, striking culinary workers marked the 4th anniversary of their walkout yesterday. It's the longest ongoing strike in the country. 500 workers from the Culinary and 4 other unions walked off their jobs in 1991 when talks broke down and a new 5-year contract. Fights between picketers and tourists, protest marches, and legal battles have marked the long labor struggle.
Mirage was...
The Frontier strike is now 4 years and 1 day old with no end in sight. And in an interview only on News 13, the Frontier's Tom Ilardi speaks out. Angela Rodriguez has the inside story.
We spoke with Tom Ilardi for about 1 hour about the Frontier Hotel, his family, and the infamous battle with the Culinary Union.
There's always been a lot of words from the union to the extent of Tom Ilardi wants to bust the union, and he's out to set that, and we can stay out here forever, but his heart is really into breaking the union.
Well, you know, those are nice political sayings. That's never been the intention of myself or the Frontier. Our intention, honestly, has been to negotiate a contract that's suitable to our style of operation.
After 4 years, you were saying that, yes, while you want to settle the strike, it's going to be tough.
Well, I think there's a lot of difficult issues that still remain to be resolved. And, you know, the issues are not only from the hotel side, but there's difficult issues from the union side. I think there's things that are really going to take some work on to get resolution.
Angela Rodriguez, News 13.
And a rally for culinary workers is scheduled for tomorrow evening at the Frontier. We, of course, will have complete coverage tomorrow on News 13.
In other news,
Preparations are underway for tomorrow's big union rally at the Frontier Hotel. Union members spent today preparing signs for tomorrow's 4th anniversary event. The actual anniversary was yesterday. Here's what drivers can expect. Around 4 p.m., Fashion Show Drive will be shut down because of the rally. Strip traffic may also be slowed down a bit, and the union is expecting as many as 3,000 participants.
A health problem that...
And if you plan to be on the Las Vegas Strip tomorrow, you better be prepared. The big union rally at the Frontier Hotel will be underway. News 13's Angela Rodriguez has the inside story about road closures.
Culinary and Teamster Union members prepared signs this afternoon for tomorrow's big rally at the Frontier. Here's an example of what's in store. This was last year's rally, the 3rd anniversary of the Frontier strike, which kicked off September 21st, 1991. 4 years later, today, union spirit is still high.
Do you think you'd ever see the 4th year rally, though?
No, not really.
I've hoped for a long time that we could get this over. And hopefully the next one is a victory party here in the parking lot at the Culinary.
Now, here's what will be in store for Las Vegas drivers. Around 5 o'clock p.m. tomorrow evening, Fashion Show Mall Drive will be closed. The rally will last until approximately 8:30 to 9 o'clock p.m. with 2,500 to 3,000 rally members expected. Angela Rodriguez, News 13.
And Angela spoke with Tom Ilardi, part owner of the Frontier, in an exclusive interview yesterday. Ilardi says resolving the strike will be tough after 4 long years, but he is hoping a resolution will be made.
Instead of...
Journal. I'd like to start the discussion briefly about the anniversary, the 4th anniversary of the Frontier Hotel strike. Angela brought a story this week. Lots of people have been trying to get an interview with the owners of the Frontier Hotel, the Ilardi family. I must give congratulations to Angela. She was actually the first person to get it in many a moon. She had scored an interview with Mr. Ilardi. son of the owner this week. So let's go ahead and play that story now.
We spoke with Tom Ilardi for about 1 hour about the Frontier Hotel, his family, and the infamous battle with the Culinary Union. There's always been a lot of words from the union to the extent of Tom Ilardi wants to bust the union, and he's out to set that, and we can stay out here forever, but his heart is really into breaking the union.
Well, you know, those are nice political sayings. That's never been the intention of myself or the Frontier. Our intention, honestly, has been to negotiate a contract that's suitable to our style of operation.
Earlier this month, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled against the hotel, saying it broke labor laws prior to the strike.
The decision came out, obviously it showed the Frontier had done certain actions that were unlawful. And it's unfortunate, but all of the actions taken by the Frontier were really at the advice of Attorney Joel Kyler, and he had led us to believe that the actions that we were taking were legal. And as you read the decision of the court, obviously the court didn't decide that. And now I think what we need to do is try to work with the National Labor Relations Board and comply.
Under the Ilardi's control, the Frontier Hotel is one of the last family-owned resorts in the state of Nevada. There's Tom, his youngest brother John, and his mother Margaret. Who calls the shots?
Well, I'd say in most family environments, it's generally the mother. She set a program over a decade ago, which was the first program in the nation, set up to take the valedictorians of the state, offer full scholarships. The only thing that the kids would have to do is maintain a grade average.
After 4 years, you were saying that, yes, while you want to settle the strike, it's going to be tough.
Well, I think there's a lot of difficult issues that still remain to be resolved. And, you know, the issues are not only from the hotel side, but there's difficult issues from the union side. I think there's things that are really going to take some work on to get resolution.
Question number one, why do you think, Angela, he granted the interview? We talked about this when we played the story. Does it have anything to do with the fact that the appeals court obviously ruled against the Frontier, and they felt that maybe they need a little bit more positive public relations, and that they could be indebted to the Culinary Union to the tune of millions of dollars?
You know, to be honest with you, I don't know exactly why. The money, I don't think, is actually a factor in this. I mean, we've seen the Ilardi family can stick things out pretty long term. I think that a lot of it had to do with the fact that we first started off camera, and I asked him a couple of questions off camera, and he seemed to be surprised that there were certain things about the Ilardi family that I didn't know, that he said that he wanted to go on TV to let people know about his family, and that he felt that the image that they have been portraying may be wrong, but of course that was all done because of the fact that he hasn't gone on TV. So I can't really tell you why he decided to go ahead and do the interview. I'm not really sure.
I don't think it certainly can't hurt. It was a good piece, by the way. But it certainly can't hurt the image of the Ilardis. The Ilardis are known as very much a curmudgeonly, bottom-line oriented family that's extremely closed. They don't talk to reporters. They don't talk to some of the hired help, and that's their reputation. If that reputation is going to change, then certainly they're going to have to grant interviews and come out and show their human side.
And you are talking about, and I learned this more so from his interview than my experiences working on the strike, covering the strike. The Ilardi family is a very close-knit, very traditional Italian-American type family. And, you know, you heard Mr. Ilardi, he didn't hesitate saying, hey, Mom calls the shots. And he referred to his mother quite often during the entire interview. But they are one of the last families, you know, that solely owns a hotel in the state of Nevada. A lot of history there. But during our discussions, some of the comments that he would make about the strike, he was telling me that it had a lot to do with the bargaining agreement back in the '88 when all of this came about, and that was the reason why his hotel didn't fit in. The Culinary Union wanted him to fit into a Mirage Resort, a Treasure Island, a Caesar's Palace, and the Frontier is an old-time hotel, and that didn't work. But we didn't really go into details about the real heart of the problems of why they didn't settle the strike. It was more so, I think I found it interesting just to hear him talking about his family, the hotel, how it's run, and he admitted on camera that the hotel did make some mistakes, and that Court of Appeals came down and it hit his family very hard.
But getting back to that point that you just brought up, the fact that he didn't want his hotel compared to the Bengal Resorts, Treasure Island, Mirage, and so forth, certainly there are other, quote, family-owned resorts on a smaller scale like the Frontier Hotel who have settled with the Culinary Union.
Most of them are all downtown, though, and I have to agree with him on that. They are usually the downtown hotels, and he is competing with other strip resorts. And, you know, but Mitch, who knows? It's really after 4 years of trying to settle a strike, I think the issues have gotten so clouded, and to go back now and take a look at the issues and try to analyze them, it seemed, I think back then it would have been very minor. Now after 4 years, it does seem to be that, I don't know. I don't think that there's a way that we can actually say it's so simple as you can't fit my hotel in with other hotels, because it's being done all over the Strip, like you said. They do fit in.
I get the impression from looking at that interview that maybe he is trying to backtrack a little. Maybe that he gets the idea that after 4 years, it's been a long strike. There's been word said on both sides, either not through Mr. Ilardi, certainly through his compadres, his attorneys, and so forth. That maybe he is kind of a peace offering, if you will, and he's kind of right, by the way, about Italian-American families. So women are definitely stronger Italian-American families. Take it from me.
Well, that could be it, but, you know, you pose the question to him, are you willing to settle? I think that's the bottom line. A lot of people are waiting to hear. Certainly the Culinary Union is waiting to hear. Are you ready to settle? Are you ready to honestly sit down and negotiate, not issue sound bites or, you know, PR types of interviews? Did you get the feeling that the guy really wanted to get this thing behind him?
For the first time in 4 years, and I've been covering the strike since day one, it seems, and I think from both sides I'm getting that feeling for the first time. I don't hear as much rhetoric on either side. If you've noticed, the Culinary Union, although they have had more ammunition over the last 2 weeks to go against that hotel than they have had in 4 years, haven't really been using it. We talked about this on the show a couple of weeks ago. They could come down really hard on the Ilardi family and just sling mud, but they haven't been doing that. Even during my interview, Ilardi didn't come down hard on the union. And that leads me to believe that maybe there is something that's in the works that neither side wants to talk publicly about.
Couldn't also be a factor that the Culinary's possible talks, and I suspect they are still talking with the MGM Grand, have something to do with it as well?
Could be.
Well, you know, the Culinary Union is involved in a lot of areas in town. You mentioned the MGM, the Santa Fe. You know, there's a lot of activities going on. I think they probably want to get this Frontier Hotel strike. I think it's a curious comment that you made that they are very conciliatory, especially in light of the fact that this court ruling came down squarely in their favor, and they really could engage in a lot of vitriol. But perhaps they see a door cracking open, whereby possibly there's a chance to get this thing behind.
Of course, I can't give too much away, Mitch, because I still have to work on this story. So I
had a feeling you had more, Angela. I'm trying to pull it out of you.
I just kind of feel that pressure coming on, and I'm thinking, well, my competition here is going to be watching Channel 10 tonight. My gut feeling is, though, that everyone wants this to be solved. Everyone wants this to be settled. But more so, I really think the Ilardi family does too. Why he did that interview, only he knows, and only he will know. I can tell you one thing, though, he didn't call us. We had to call him, and it was really and truly like pulling teeth. But also, and we brought this out a little bit in the interview, the Ilardi family is a very, very private family. Like John mentioned, they're very old-time Nevada. They don't like TV cameras. Margaret Ilardi has truthfully given millions of dollars under the table, and I shouldn't say under the table. She hasn't publicized it. Other hotels would have sent out press releases. And you know, Tom Ilardi made a comment to me, and he's probably going to be mad at me for saying this. I asked him something about, well, you know, if you're mad at me because I don't report on the good things that Margaret does to the community, the millions of dollars, the scholarships, why don't you send out a press release? Why not, you know, you need a PR person. He says, I hate PR. Now, for a hotel exec, a hotel owner, to say they hate PR, that really stuck with me.
That's a 90s attitude there. Wow.
See, that's his existence. He's very old school. He doesn't believe that he needs TV cameras and to settle issues in the media and to use public relations people. He believes he does things by the old school book. And obviously they've been successful because they're still there, you know, throughout the 4 years.
But the competition is getting tougher. You've got major conglomerates owning hotels on the Strip, and Tom Ilardi doesn't start, to be honest, if he doesn't start using a little PR, start using a little public relations, stroking a few people, then he's going to have major problems down the road. He may be doing fine now, but 5, 10 years.
But see, I think
I think, believe it or not, that interview that he did with us after 4 years is a milestone for him. I really do. And I think to him, that is major PR. And which maybe it did help him, because I tell you, I've had a lot of people tell me that, well, he came across very warm and very nice as opposed to what we thought he was going to be. And I had to kind of agree with that part.
One last question. Are we either going to get A, an interview with Mrs. Alardi, or B, your prediction on when the strike's going to be settled?
Oh, boy, geez.
Come on, go on and on now.
Okay. All right. Do you want me to give you a prediction on when the strike's going to be settled? I'd be better off telling you whether or not OJ is going to be found guilty or not. Okay. My prediction is going to be within 2 weeks. As for Margaret Alardi, check back with me. I'm working.
You're working on that. I had a feeling. That's why I wanted to push it.
Of course, she's probably watching this now and saying, I'm going to stay away from my TV. I'm going to stay away from the phone.
Okay, let's go into something else right now.
And finally, inside Las Vegas, Culinary Union members prepare for tomorrow's big rally at the Frontier. The rally is to mark yesterday's 4th anniversary of the Frontier Hotel strike. Now, here's what to expect. Around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Fashion Show Drive will be shut down because of the rally. Traffic on the Strip may also be slowed. 3,000 participants are expected. Getting out of
Novador.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Paige Novador. John Bonds is sitting in for Kurt Goff. A gathering of thousands of labor leaders and strikers is set to start on the Strip in about an hour or so.
The rally is to show solidarity and mark an unwanted anniversary. That anniversary brings the 4th year out on the picket line for striking Frontier workers.
Our Randy Swallow is live near the Frontier now with more on our top story. Randy?
Good afternoon, Paige and John. You're absolutely right. This is an old-fashioned labor rally right out here, just right close to the Las Vegas Strip. It is called One Day Longer. I've been doing a little bit of math, and by my count, this is the 1,463rd day that 400 to 500 culinary bartender workers have been on strike here at outside the Frontier. You can see they're just getting set. The NHP is just setting up a blockade here on the Strip. So this is definitely one place you want to avoid. It has been an interesting day out here on the picket line. There's 40 or 50 strikers out there, which is a number higher than there normally have been the past few days. Everyone is a little bit happier. There's a whole lot more smiles and handshakes going on. They understand the significance of today's 4th anniversary of this. There's going to be, this rally will start at 6 o'clock. There's going to be food, music. What everyone is really excited about is a gentleman by the name of Richard Trumka. He is the head of the United Mine Workers Union. He's going to come in here and speak, help promote solidarity among these workers. They tell me he's a very dynamic speaker. Again, traffic will be just horrendous around this area, so this is probably a good place to avoid. Metro and NHP are in place. They expect anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 people, union members and their family, out at this rally. We'll bring you a whole lot more at 6 o'clock, including some words from Tom Alardi, who is the general manager of the Frontier. This is one of the first times he has spoken throughout this whole 4-year ordeal. Reporting live from the Strip, I'm Randy Swallow.
So, Randy, once again, from what time to what time should people try to avoid the Strip area around there?
It starts at 6 o'clock. Richard Trumka will be addressing the crowd about 7 o'clock. The whole thing should be over by about 9 to 10 o'clock, so give it another hour after that for the people to clear out. You can see they're just setting up tables, and there will be some breakdown time. So, again, probably avoid this area for the next 5 hours, I'd say, Paige.
Okay, Randy Swallow reporting live. Thanks, Randy. We'll see you back out there at 6 o'clock.
And a Los Angeles...
Good evening, I'm John Bonds, in tonight for Kurt Goff.
And I'm Paige Novador. In our top story, One Day Longer. That's the name of a rally taking place right now outside the Frontier Hotel.
The Frontier strike has now surpassed the 4-year mark. It's the longest ongoing labor movement in the entire country.
Randy Swallow is live at the Frontier. Randy, what's happening?
Paige, things are starting to take place here, and you're right. This has been an unwanted celebration. It has marked 4 years now. We are in the shadow of the Frontier Hotel. The labor strike has been going on, as we say, for 4 years, and this rally now has moved from the picket line out here. People are having a good time. They're eating some food here, some culinary delights. We're just awaiting the melodic sounds of union singer Ann Feeney. 2 words that you hear out here more often than anything else are union solidarity during a thing like this. But these union members have 2 other words that they don't like to hear, and those 2 words are Tom Alardi.
Well, I think there's a lot of difficult issues that still remain to be resolved. And you know, the issues are not only from the hotel side, but there's difficult issues from the union side.
Frontier boss Tom Ilardi finally broke his silence this week, seemingly a concession to mark the 4th anniversary of the bitter labor dispute. The Frontier suffered a setback earlier this month when an appeals court fined the hotel for cutting off benefits before the strike began. The past 4 years have been tough to swallow for the hundreds of picketers, but they're still hoping for a sweet victory.
It doesn't matter if there's one of us or 100 of us. We're here. We are definitely here.
Go as far as they want. I mean, we'll be out here till hell turns into a skating rink as far as we're concerned.
Ilardi is showing his concern also, but he stopped short of being overly optimistic about a quick end to the strike.
That's a very difficult speculation. Obviously, there's still difficult issues from the company side and from the union side that just need to be worked out.
Okay, cool. Now we're back here live again on the Labor Party out here. I'm joined by one culinary worker, Art. Art,
how you doing?
Good. Why are you out here, first of all, today, Art?
Well, we're doing a rally for the Frontier. The Ilardis, they took away our health and welfare, all our benefits. They took out our wages. They're getting whatever they want of wages now.
So you're here to help your union brothers and sisters?
Sir.
What are you serving up here today? It looks like
hot dogs.
Hot dogs.
Great hot dogs for all the people here.
How many pounds of those guys do you expect to go
We've got about 3,000 hot dogs.
Okay, and you were out here at the same rally last year, is that right?
Yes, sir, I was. We did it. This is the 4th year in a row.
Okay, terrific.
And I've been here 2 years.
Hoping for a quick end to the strike.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much, Art. A couple other things I can tell you. They're expecting big crowds here, estimates anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 people. So this is definitely an area to avoid. The traffic around here is just horrendous on a Saturday night anyway, and especially when you block it off. It is blocked off at the Strip and just a few blocks down on the other side on Fashion Show. The other exciting thing is at 7 o'clock, a gentleman by the name of Richard Trumka will be addressing the crowd here. He's the Secretary-Treasurer of the United Mine Workers, and they tell me he is quite a dynamic speaker. A lot of people are looking forward to seeing him. Reporting live near the Las Vegas Strip, near the Frontier Hotel, I'm Randy Swallow.
Okay, thanks a lot, Randy.
And on
the night off. It was 4 years ago that the Frontier strike began. Today, union members are remembering that day and the many days since with a rally. News 13's Sean Smith is standing by live at the Frontier. Sean, is the emotion-filled gathering ongoing there? What's the mood?
Well, to put it simply, Kim, the mood here is one of reserved celebration. The culinary union members are a little happier this year than in years past, and that's mainly due to a recent ruling by the Ninth Circuit Court. That ruling, in essence, states that the Frontier acted illegally 4 years ago when it laid off employees and eliminated employee benefits. But strikers remain reserved, knowing the battle is not over yet.
Strikers have been out there in the streets now 4 years fighting for their rights and justice that they deserve. And they need the support to continue. And they will continue until they get the justice they deserve.
Start it now.
Earlier this week, News 13 spoke with Tom Ilardi of the Frontier. He says he believes the two sides can come to an agreement ending the strike, but he says there are still some very difficult issues to work out first. Now, in terms of tonight's rally, people are still pouring in. They're expected to be at least 1,000 people here tonight. And in terms of support, the Culinary Union is receiving support from labor leaders all over the state of Nevada. Representatives from the United Farm Workers Union are here as well, and the United Mine Workers Union. The speaker tonight is Richard Trumka of the United Mine Workers Union. He is running for the country's second largest, or highest rather, labor office. That's the way things look down here at the rally. Kim, back to you.
Sean, are strikers there feeling the picket line may soon be over?
Yeah, they really are. We spoke to a number of people tonight, and they are breathing a sigh of relief. A lot of them have said it feels like a tremendous weight off their shoulders. They don't know when the end is, but at least they can see a light at the end of the tunnel.
All right, Sean Smith reporting live from the Frontier Hotel. Thank you very much. In other news...
Everyone, thanks for joining us tonight. Could the nation's longest labor strike be close to an end?
Well, with a recent court ruling of rumors of negotiations for former Frontier workers are more hopeful now than ever.
Kent Williams is at a rally to mark the 4th anniversary of the walkout. Kent.
Well, Mark and Polly, this rally was supposed to start at 6, but it's just now getting underway. They've shut off a portion of Fashion Show Drive, and there's food, drink, a motivational speaker, and even music. Organizers say it's anything but a party. They say it's more like a salute to the 260-some workers who continue to walk the line.
4 years ago, and nearly 500 strikers strong, the shouting was louder.
One more day, as long as it takes.
Today, there is no shouting. The number of picketers is down, but their spirit is stronger than ever.
I've seen a lot of good things come out of it. I mean, it's been a rough strike. It's been rough on the strikers and their families, but I've seen a lot of solidarity come out of it.
They have hope because of recent rulings from a federal court, ordering the Frontier to repay workers and restore pension money from a time before the strike. But that doesn't mean the two sides are any closer to a truce.
Well, I think there's a lot of difficult issues that still remain to be resolved. And, you know, the issues are not only from the hotel side, but there's difficult issues from the union side. I think there's things that are really going to take some work on to get resolution.
At least the violence that surrounded the strike in the early days is almost non-existent. Protesters say confrontations like this one in 1993 between picketers and tourists are better left in the past.
We are all professionals in whatever trade we happen to choose within the hotel. So therefore, we will go back without any recourse on Mrs. Alardi, her looking at us badly because we said bad things about her, but I'm sure that she's done bad things against us. Both sides are going to have to overlook these things and come out on a new line and start from there and go forward, not looking back.
Now, to put this in a little different perspective, 98 babies have been born to union workers since the strike began. There's been 10 deaths and several marriages. Now, the president of the United Mine Workers is scheduled to speak tonight, and what he's going to say is just a thumbs up to the workers, telling them good job and keep the good work up. Now, I talked to a couple workers, and they said they're not sure when the strike will end. Some said maybe a couple weeks, a month, and some wouldn't even speculate. But the theme tonight is one more day to solidarity, and that's what they'll continue to do. Reporting live from Fashion Show Drive, I'm Kit Williams. Now back to you, Polly and Mark.
All right, thanks, Kit.
In other news,
a group of Las Vegas union workers are making history these days, but they're not happy about it. Hundreds turned out for a giant block party today to mark the 4th anniversary of the Frontier strike. It's the longest labor fight in Las Vegas history and currently the longest in the country. Frontier workers and supporters remain hopeful that an agreement can be reached, but the general manager of the hotel says a lot of work still needs to be done.
That's a very difficult speculation. Obviously, there's still difficult issues from the company side and from the union side that just need to be worked out.
Go as far as they want. I mean, we'll be out here till hell turns into a skating rink as far as we're concerned.
An appeals court recently fined the hotel for cutting off benefits to workers before the strike began.
Hi, Henderson.
hello everyone, thanks for joining us tonight. One day longer, that's how strikers at the Frontier describe their picket against the hotel.
And tonight they got some words of inspiration to continue their 4-year-old strike.
No, 4 years was a long time to beat the concrete, and that's what we've been doing. We beat it cold, hot, and heat. I mean, it was rough, but we stayed here. We said we would stay here one day longer than she would, and we're still here.
Solidarity was alive and well at a rally tonight where union leaders from around the country came to Las Vegas to show support to the Frontier strikers. Kit Williams has more on the day's events.
4 years ago, and nearly 500 strikers strong, the shouting was louder.
One more day, as long as it takes.
Today, there is no shouting. The number of picketers is down, but their spirit is stronger than ever.
I've seen a lot of good things come out of it. I mean, it's been a rough strike. It's been rough on the strikers and their families, but I've seen a lot of solidarity come out of it.
They have hope because of recent rulings from a federal court, ordering the Frontier to repay workers and restore pension money from a time before the strike. But that doesn't mean the two sides are any closer to a truce.
Well, I think there's a lot of difficult issues that still remain to be resolved. And, you know, the issues are not only from the hotel side, but there's difficult issues from the union side. I think there's things that are really going to take some work on to get resolution.
At least the violence that surrounded the strike in the early days is almost non-existent. Protesters say confrontations like this one in 1993 between picketers and tourists are better left in the past.
We are all professionals in whatever trade we happen to choose within the hotel. So therefore, we will go back without any recourse on Mrs. Alardi, her looking at us badly because we said bad things about her, but I'm sure that she's done bad things against us. Both sides are going to have to overlook these things and come out on a new line and start from there and go forward, not looking back.
Kit Williams, Channel 8 Eyewitness News.
Some of the strikers today told us they felt the strike could officially be over in a few weeks, but others say that's optimistic thinking.
Walmart is found.
Tonight, the start of the 5th year on the Frontier picket line is marked with unity. Strikers and union supporters gather tonight to exercise their muscle over at the Frontier. Good evening, I'm Kim Sherwood. Mark has the night off. But many say this evening feels a lot different from rallies in years past. News 13's Sean Smith has our inside story.
It has become a familiar setting. For years, Frontier strikers and members of the Culinary Union staff have gathered here at Fashion Show Boulevard. They listen to music, eat food, and encourage each other. But a recent ruling by the Ninth Circuit Court has seemingly transformed this event. Now participants are allowing themselves to celebrate, if only just a bit.
We are more confident because this year we think that we finally got into the courts, got into the family inside, listening to us.
I said the wheel of justice turning slow, so they finally caught us.
Even Frontier owners have a hopeful outlook, although they know there is still much to be done.
I think there's a lot of difficult issues that still remain to be resolved. And, you know, the issues are not only from the hotel side, but there's difficult issues from the union side. I think there's things that are really going to take some work on to get resolution.
They enjoy each other's company and are encouraged during this rally, but it's something they'd much rather not do next year. Sean Smith, News 13.
New information tonight on the dismemberment.